Hello, Umbra here, and today we'll be checking out another Axeman video, this time Concord, the biggest failure in gaming. I've heard about the fall of Concord, but never actually had the time to actually know why it was as crap as it is. Also, this thing only lasted 2 weeks, which is just... damn. So yeah, I'm kind of curious about this one. This is more morbid curiosity than anything. But from what I've heard, Concord was pretty much dead on arrival. Like, Battleborn lasted longer than this. But in Battleborn's case, it was more like murdered and mutilated. This was just like the very definition of dead on arrival. Let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. Let's go.
Well taken, Concord. Thank you, sir. Most kind. And again. Over we go. Good, steady. And now, the big one.
Oh boy.
Come on, Concord.
Police say, oh,
Message for you, sir.
oh, yep. Oh dear.
Concord, speak to me. Brave, brave Concord. You shall not have died in vain. I'm not quite dead, sir.
Not quite
Well,
dead.
you shall not have been mortally wounded in vain.
Oh, you will be.
I could pull through, sir.
Oh,
No, you won't.
Actually, I think I'm all right to come with you, sir.
No, no, sweet Concord, stay here.
No, I feel fine, actually.
Farewell, sweet Concord.
Dear.
I'll just stay here then, shall I, sir?
Yep, just stay there and
What I
die.
remember about the release of Concord is how quiet it was. During the
Yeah.
waning hours of the launch
It
week,
barely had any place to
Sony
begin with.
executives and I were discreetly transported to the server room. It
Dear.
was a silent trip. We all knew what was about to happen, what we were about to do.
Oh,
Did we have any doubts, any private traitorous thoughts the game could make a comeback?
Not really.
Perhaps. But we didn't say a word.
Because, yeah, look at this. Like, the servers are dying. What almighty. Rest in pieces, Concord.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today, I think it's fitting
Wait.
we hold a candlelight vigil for Concord.
Oh,
He was the
boy.
best of us. He was the worst of us. Today, we celebrate
Yeah,
the
he
life
was something,
and
alright.
memory of Concord. All 11 days of it. Sony's
11
latest
days!
hero shooter, and one of,
How
if
long
not
does Concord
actually,
live for?
I
11
think this
days!
is the biggest commercial failure in video game history.
You fucked it up.
If you
And that's
look
putting
at
it lightly.
Wikipedia's list of video game commercial failures,
Uh-huh.
the numbers are actually quite impressive when compared to Concord. For example,
Yeah.
the Sega 32X sold 665,000 units and was still considered a commercial failure. Dude,
Yeah.
the fucking 3DO, the console that costed $700, equivalent to $1,500 in 2023.
Like, goddamn.
Even this sold 2 million.
Somehow.
Even the infamous E.T. the Extraterrestrial on Atari 2600.
You know
the
it's
game
bad
that is
when-
largely contributed to have caused the video game crash of 1982, sold 1.5 million copies. This is
You know you've done bad when you've sold worse than something that actively tried to destroy the industry. Like, wow. That's just... There's like, Concord's gone, literally reduced to atoms. Like, oh dear.
This is just to give you context. Concord, on the other hand, brace yourself,
Oh boy.
has been estimated to have sold only 25,000 units.
That is pathetic.
That's kind of small.
The
Kinda
3DO,
small.
The 32X, ET, all sold monumentally better than Concord. This game had a
25,000
reported budget
copies
of
for a
over
game. That
$100
is
million.
tiny. That is
If you crunch
microscopic.
the numbers, it's estimated about 10,000 copies were sold on Steam. Steam takes a 30% cut of all sales.
Oh, no.
So if you were to crunch these numbers, the revenue they generated on these
Oh,
sales
dear.
is not even enough to cover 1% of the budget. It's not even enough to recoup
Yikes.
1% of that $100 million. This is, I think, the biggest commercial failure in video game history. And with a
Which is
staggering 8
saying
years of
quite a bit.
development, Concord launched to an abysmal peak player count of 660 players on Steam.
Yeah,
I would be laughing if it wasn't so sad, but this is a funeral, okay? Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League had a higher player count than
somehow
Concord. Ladies and
that
gentlemen,
did,
to
yeah.
put this in the most extreme context possible,
Like
I give
30,000,
you
like
this.
13,000.
I could end the video right here, to be quite honest. What's even worse to consider is that a good chunk of these players were likely journalists or content creators who received early codes, or even some of the developers.
Literally
So
no
it
one
begs
played
the
this
question,
other than
how
these
does
guys.
Such a huge game that Sony has invested so much money, time, and effort into, how does it collapse?
Like, never have I ever heard anyone say, "Hey, do you want to play Concord?" when it was still alive. And if they did, I'd say, takes one look at the player base and their views. Nah, I'm good, fam.
This hard. Today we're going to answer that question. Why has Concord failed so spectacularly? Because just 2 weeks after launch, Sony has announced that they are pulling it from stores, refunding.
Oh, we should look at that.
anyone who bought it, and
Another
shutting the servers
hero-based
down on
shooter
September
in
6th,
the
which is
market,
probably
and it's
about the
gone.
time this video is going to go live. They're giving it the full day before treatment. Not even Redfall was shut down this quickly.
Oh my
and that's
God,
so
damn.
strange because Redfall was a total glitch fest. It was barely even a functioning video game.
That's
and
saying
yet
something.
Concord
Like,
worked.
God.
It wasn't a good game. It wasn't unique, but it functioned. And that's usually like the bar where these kinds
That's
of games
that's the
land. It's
bare
like,
minimum
they
for
just
AAA
don't fucking
companies these
work,
days.
and they're terrible. But Concord worked. That's what's interesting about it. In many ways, this situation is worse than the day before because that game was just a blatant.
That was just a scam, yeah.
This was like a genuine, real attempt to create a new first-party IP for the Sony brand.
Yeah, it's
We are
too bad
actually
that,
witnessing
you know.
a historic moment, like something that might never happen on this level.
Yeah,
in the video
something
game
so
industry for a long time.
that failed so bad it got shot in the back of the head or the other style.
In like $3 billion of revenue lost in the industry as a whole. As a singular product, I think Concord takes the cake. This is $100 million
wow.
straight down the fucking toilet.
100 million
The game director for
wasted.
Firewatch Studios, the developers, posted
Fuck.
this update. An important update on Concord. Concord fans, we've been listening to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and
have you?
PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey abroad the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. I think one of the saddest things a person can witness is a situation where all hope is clearly lost. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. And yet
Yeah,
there's
there's
still
like
an element
nothing
of
left.
positivity to it. Man, that fucking sucks for the developers. Like, you can sit
Yeah,
here and say,
it's
yeah,
like-
it's their fucking fault for making this game nobody wanted and nobody cared to buy. But there are
Though some of the devs did throw massive hissy fits when Concord was pretty much going under from day one. And you wonder why I don't have a Twitter account anymore. But yeah, I feel bad for the ones that genuinely like the game. And those who made it for the most part, as long as you avoid anything that they post on Twitter. Like, fuck.
genuinely talented developers, you know, people on the ground floor who don't make the creative decisions, who probably put their heart and soul into this job and into this game, and it's just a total dud. The forced positivity of it, it's just, something about that just is so sad to me. But I mean, we're still gonna make fun of it. While many qualities
Yeah,
of the experience resonated
unfortunately.
with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we intended.
Like the yeah.
You don't say. You don't say.
Yeah, the
don't
fucking
say, do
foundation
ya?
Disintegrated. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. Yada yada yada. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah,
and
they
thank you
gave.
again
It
to
was
all
so
the
bad that they
freebirders
gave
who
him
have
full
joined us in the
refunds.
Concord Galaxy.
Like,
all
that is just like
2,000 of them.
Ugh.
That's rough, buddy. I suppose
Damn,
credit where
that's
credit
rough, buddy.
is due. They're not taking the small amount of money and running. They would probably face a lawsuit, you know. Although the developers could try to resuscitate the game with
Don't.
post-launch support,
Don't.
I can at least
It's
respect
gone.
knowing when to call
Just
it
let it
quits.
die.
But I am
And it
once
did.
again asking you to listen, game publishers, to what I said in this video. There should not be so many failures in the
Yeah, I
game
watched that
industry
one.
that I can keep referencing this video as an example of prophecy. Why?
Because no one's
was it
listening for
necessary
some
to
reason.
invest
They should.
hundreds of millions of dollars into this new release? It's like,
You know, 'cause
you're
Ackman
just
knows what he's
hoping
talking
that
about.
Every live service game you make is going to be the one to make $1 billion, and none of them are. Try developing new IPs on a smaller scale, built by fewer people.
Like
with
Helldivers
a
2.
more cohesive creative vision that takes less risks, and if it does well, work your way up. That's how it
Like
fucking
Lethal
used to
Company.
be. The Warcraft series started as a pretty fucking jank RTS, but it grew from that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Publishers are placing gargantuan expectations upon brand new game studios and just expecting them to make like billions of dollars right out the gate.
That right there is one of the reasons why I think the industry is going backwards. Like everything that we've come up to now, we are actually going backwards in time. Well, not backwards in time, but just sort of like backwards logic. I'm just like, hello guys. Game's supposed to be fun first, not thinking about profit first. Like, why you like this? Please stop. It'll take another video game crash for them to actually fucking wake up.
This is such a monumental blunder that it's really important to take a deep look at why Concord failed and what this means for the game industry as a whole. Now, they say they're going to find ways to re-deliver the game, but I don't know if that's possible. The game is just not interesting to people. It's not visually appealing. The gameplay doesn't look fun or interesting, or
yeah, it doesn't look very good either. Like visually, and it just looks kind of generic.
Fortnite turnaround in the cards here. You know, Fortnite's original mode, it just
I mean,
kind of flew under the radar. Nobody cared too much, but Epic had the foresight to say, hey, maybe we can still make something out of this. It wasn't a lost cause. Concord has been the biggest high-profile disaster that most gamers stay far away from the blast radius, you know? There isn't any sort of even Fallout 76 type redemption to be had here. It's not a case of No Man's Sky where the game had potential and it hooked people and they were willing to give it another shot with post-launch support. I think this is just dead and done
this is just like, yeah, I get that. Yep, it's dead. It's dead.
Failure, with disaster, kind of like what Brink used to be.
Oof,
Anybody
remember
that dumpster fire?
I do.
Also, can
Wish
we
I didn't.
talk about how funny it is that Sony decided to launch
Yeah,
a
just
live
pull a
service
Brink on it
game
and
like
just
which
erase
is
it from
dependent
existence.
on a healthy player count to function, and they blocked this game's release from like 180 countries.
For fuck's sake,
What are
Sony.
you doing? Sony literally learned nothing from the Helldivers 2 debacle. Like, they looked
Did you learn
at
anything
that
from
and
Helldivers
thought,
2
you know what?
debacle?
We
No.
should have just launched
Fuck.
the game like that, blocked in all these countries.
Like,
What are you doing?
To be fair, though, I think
I don't even know.
countries are happy they were saved from
Concord,
Concord.
yeah.
So, you know, count your blessings.
Yeah.
It must be pretty clear to the execs at Sony that Concord's chances of revival are basically zero. So
Yep.
by shutting it down,
Probably
they're
worse
able
than zero.
to
It's in the
save
minuses
money
at this
on the
rate.
cost of running servers, the electricity for the computers in the building. Perhaps they can save some money on their taxes by writing this off as a fucking business loss. They're just getting what they can back. And this is
Yeah,
not reassuring to any aspiring game
100 million
developers, I imagine. The
down
people
the
at
toilet.
Firewalk are
Goddamn.
probably utterly demoralized, and I can sympathize
Like,
with that.
oh,
albeit on
boy.
a smaller scale. You know, it sucks when I put 2 weeks into a video that goes live and it's at the bottom. It's 10 out of 10, doing the worst. It's flopping. But that's only 2 weeks of work
yeah.
for like 1 to 2 people, you know? This was 8 years and 100 developers with
Like,
a $100 million budget. I
fuck.
cannot even grasp my mind around the stakes and how much.
Like that. If I was part of that team, I would have quit on the spot. Like as soon as it was going offline. And hell, probably would have quit on day one and when it was released, when it got torn to shreds and no one played it. Like, damn. You know what the sad part in all this is? The last vestige we will remember Concord for is coming up in secret level. That one Amazon Prime anthology series. Like, Concord's on there. It'll be the last time we ever see that. Like, That's gonna be haunting to see. It's like the last time we saw Battleborn was in Ready Player One of all things. But damn, just I don't know, it actually kind of makes me sad.
Much I would feel bad about failing on such a spectacular level. So I really do sympathize with the developers on the ground floor, as can Cliff Blazinski, who said on Twitter, "Concord, I feel your pain." For those that don't remember, Cliff Blazinski was the lead designer on the first 3 Gears of War games. He later moved on to create Lawbreakers, another hero shooter that was less dead on arrival than Concord.
And that's saying something, because Lawbreaker was
just
like
a year after launch.
Lawbreaker
was a
won
shut down one
like,
year. Concord lasted 11 days. If anyone knows what the Firewalk devs
11 days,
right now,
it was exactly split from Critical
Now, the
Role.
first major reason Concord failed is pretty obvious. Bad marketing. I, like most people, saw the trailers for this game and thought,
yeah, Concord was just like 11 days. And how long does Cobalt live for? 11 days. And then that 11 days comes up and he's just like, I win. And then immediately smashed by a freaking giant hammer.
Don't care. That's how our brains work, right? You have to implant a strong first impression to be like, what is this? Does it have a release date? When's that? I should put it in my calendar. Yo, homie, have you seen this Concord game? It looks kind of sick. Maybe we should try it out when it comes out. No, there was no mouth effect like that at all.
No.
I only learned this.
Everyone knew it was dead on arrival.
Because I was doing research on upcoming hero shooters for the.
Yeah, like when I saw this revealed, I can't remember what it was. I think it was one state of play. But I remember this. All of my friends were on a Discord call. The moment that Concord trailer was dropped, we all thought the same thing. This looks dead on arrival. This looks like it's not going to last very long. But 11 days, like, fuck.
The video I made on why Overwatch 2 was a pointless sequel, in which Concord was just a footnote in that video. Like, hey, maybe Concord is going to be one of those games that gives Overwatch 2 some competition.
No, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You
Serious?
Really, Act Man? Really? I didn't fucking know anything about it. Okay, give me some slack. But it's still bizarre that Concord could launch to such low player counts. Like,
right?
It had a flashy, big-budget cinematic trailer that, like, clearly had a lot of effort put into it. It was being promoted on PlayStation's Showcase. They had plans for an animated spin-off series. They had written up a ton of lore and backstory on the characters. In the universe.
I think it's still part of Secret Level, but I mean, I don't know. I don't follow that too much. I wouldn't be surprised when Secret Level comes out and it's not there. I wouldn't be surprised. But like, god damn. And the sad thing is that, you know, Concord could have worked about a decade ago. Like, just you're in a market where you release it to where hero shooters are kind of becoming stale. Like, god damn. 8 years of development and $100 million down the fucking toilet. Ay.
Limited edition controllers tied in with this game, which actually looks pretty sick, not gonna lie.
They went above and beyond to promote this.
Live service updates with
that didn't fucking happen.
Vignettes to keep players coming back. How could so few people have bought or played this or cared about it? Why did it become a ghost town?
660 people used to live here.
Dear.
One
Yeah,
user
pretty
pointed
much.
out that people who pre-ordered got access to the closed beta, and that closed beta peaked at about 1,100 players.
Okay.
The open beta drew in a max of 2,400. The game launched to a player count of less than 700,
Fuck.
an indication that about half of the players who pre-ordered the game canceled it or got a refund before release. Wow.
Yikes.
Meanwhile, Deadlock's hitting like 100K and it hasn't even fucking been announced yet. And I
Yeah.
recently watched the cinematic
Deadlock's
reveal,
popping off.
and
Like,
when you
goddamn.
watch something and you're like,
Valve do
I
what Valve do.
don't feel anything. That's kind of what like a sociopath probably feels like. I just feel empty inside watching this. It comes
Yeah,
across
just
like
like,
a intergalactic
why don't I
co-op
feel
heist
this?
game, which could have been a really cool. That's a cool concept. I mean,
Yeah.
this big tower in the circling city. That it looks
Like, when we
kinda
saw the
cool.
trailer, we're
The
just
way the
like,
characters talk is
it's, you know.
uninteresting, mega cringe. They don't look visually appealing. It's
But
like,
then it turns out it was a hero shorter.
Get it? This guy likes hot sauce. Isn't that so quirky? Ah, the old shoot the hot sauce bottle at him. A classic trick. I think it's generous to
Okay.
call this a cheap knockoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, you can already play as the real Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I know,
Fucking
right?
play that.
Just play
You know,
Marvel
this
Rivals.
was cool and interesting. Maybe we just needed time to get used to it. And then they said Concord would be a 5v5 hero shooter. And I think
And-
that's when most people just checked out.
And then.
Because there's a lot of those right now. But even in the gameplay trailers, where the footage has been curated and edited to be the best representation of the game possible, Concord still looked dull,
Yeah.
unimaginative. I mean, just look at it. Compare this to the excitement present in the Black Ops 6 trailer. These gameplay showcases can be
Alright.
described as
I don't know, Clea wants
this
to
is a
want to
brand
play
new
Call of Duty
IP.
again.
It's a hero shooter,
Which
an
is something I
established,
never thought I'd
saturated
say.
Genre. You gotta blow us away with an explosive first impression. The game sounded even less appealing when the developers sat down and explained to us what Concord was. None of it sounded unique.
It just
All
sounded generic.
statements you could say about any first-person shooter. It's got a strong
dear.
gameplay foundation.
Okay,
Opportunities to
like
outplay
X,
your
Y, and
opponent,
Z.
tight core movement. Does it also have guns? In shooting?
Wow, I can't
love
believe that.
Shooting things. If I'm not shooting, I'm not having fun. So for the people who watched these trailers and were aware of the game's existence, it probably didn't leave a strong impression, especially when it's in a showcase filled with other vastly more interesting games. In this article from The Gamer, there's a paragraph that summarizes people's sentiments perfectly. I'd never heard of Concord before the showcase, or if I had, what I'd heard or seen hadn't been memorable enough to stick in my memory. I
Yeah,
didn't realize
that-
right off the
that
bat
right
that it
there.
was part of PlayStation's slate of live service titles, which set me up for a day-ruining disappointment.
Oh,
First impressions
oh,
matter a
that
lot,
was.
especially
oh.
with new IPs, because they don't have that emotional equity with an audience to automatically grab their attention, and it didn't do a good job of grabbing people's attention. The
Nope,
second reason Concord
didn't.
failed, they missed the bus. It's gone.
Yeah, again,
okay?
like
And
I
now the
said,
game
would
is
have been
stuck at
alright a
rock
decade
bottom.
ago.
Even if this came out before Overwatch, it would have felt immediately outdated after Overwatch came out. Overwatch
So-
1, yes. If you're gonna
so
show
in
up
other
8 years
words,
late to the party,
even if
you
it
better
did,
bring some goddamn
it still would have
good
died.
shit and a keg of beer. Where's the beer? It's not just
Where's
that the hero
my
shooter
beer?
genre is oversaturated. It's that Concord did nothing to differentiate itself from its competitors. As if
It just
nowhere
did the
along
exact
this
same thing and
eight stretch of
expected it to be
development,
okay.
They thought, hey, maybe we should change directions and try to
Yeah,
innovate
maybe
and
we
adapt
should
to
do
the
something,
changing gaming
I don't know,
landscape
unique.
and what the current expectations are. I mean, you see this innovation in hero shooters like Deadlock, which is arguably more of a MOBA than a hero shooter. The aspects of
maybe.
Dota and League of Legends work to great success in Deadlock. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't play or feel like anything else out there.
Maybe I
It's a
should play it. I haven't
genuinely
actually played it
innovative
yet.
Title, and it's in alpha, and the art style is still leagues better than this. They haven't even finished the fucking graphics on this game, and it still looks better. Marvel Rivals has the benefit of the Marvel IP and the hundreds of characters they can pull creative inspiration from.
Like,
NetEase has
ironically, one of the
already
best
worked on Overwatch
Marvel-ish
in the past, so they
licensed
have
games
experience with that type
in
of game.
quite a while.
Apex Legends blends hero shooters with the Battle Royale formula. Valorant mixes hero shooters with Counter-Strike. It's these combinations of
Yeah,
different
it's sort of
ingredients
like-
that makes the beverage taste unique.
I know,
Concord
right?
doesn't have any of that. There's no X factor. And
There's
it's linked
no
to a trend
draw.
that we've
It's
all
just
been familiar with for
bare
the last
bones.
8 years. The third reason, and let's play a game. One
Okay.
of these is not like the other.
Concord.
Can you help me figure out which one?
Oh, boy.
This one? No?
No,
What about this one?
no.
Uh-huh. Oh, I see. It's Concord with a $40 price tag.
$40
Every
price
competitor
tag.
is free to play.
Yeah.
Gee, who could have seen this one coming?
I actually didn't know it was like I didn't actually know that it was quote unquote a paid game until like just before it released. I thought to myself, oh, okay, this is fine as a free to play shooter. See, it's $40. Excuse me. Oh dear.
That this was a bad decision. At a time where inflation is also especially high in the US, gamers have to be wise with what they spend their money on, and they're likely to be even more conservative with their money because of games like Concord that turn into total duds. I don't know what to say. This is just a complete miscalculation. Just a fucking. This is 2014 Seahawks at the Super Bowl.
The numbers Concord.
Yard line instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch. It's just a complete disaster of a calculation. The main appeal of live service games is that most of the times they're free. You might deal with some jank and bullshit, but the game's free.
Yeah, the game's free. Can't really do anything.
With microtransactions, you can. So the
I
barrier
don't.
to entry is torn down,
Well,
and the
sometimes.
business model is mostly geared towards cosmetics. That's the trade-off. But trying to do both is really difficult if the game isn't good enough. It's like trying.
You know what other game did this? EA Stars Battlefront 2. I'm talking about the new one, not the classic. Full price game with microtransactions. Oh dear.
Trying to milk two cows at once. Asking for $40 up front is like forcing your guests in Roller Coaster Tycoon to pay to use the bathroom. It's like, no thanks.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
just shit my pants.
No, I'll
However,
just whiz on the
games that
electric
manage
fence.
to blend an upfront cost with a live service model can sell well. Helldivers 2 is a prime example, but they also really didn't go too hard on the monetization.
Yeah,
Also
all right.
been fumbling on the live service front, and that's kind of sad. But Arrowhead
It's
more than made their money back.
getting
and then
there.
some. But
It's
Helldivers
getting
2
there.
also offered players something they had never seen or played before. It had style.
I still
Price.
really like the game.
Concord has a funny face. Speaking of, the fourth reason the game failed, to put it nicely, it's visually unappealing. That is the nicest way to describe
And then there's Concord. He's dead.
it. Not just the character designs, but the UI, the weapons, the maps, everything.
Yeah, everything
It's
looks
generic. It's
fucking
ugly. Visually,
hideous.
everything has a great amount of detail and high graphical fidelity.
Yeah, but
lacks
it looks
style.
like-
it lacks charm.
looks like
it means Concord
this.
only looks like lots of money was invested
It's just like,
into it,
ah,
but
you
not much creativity.
poor thing.
This is a hero shooter. The heroes are the selling point. This game has to have character. If I don't like the
No,
look, feel, or
and
sound
it
of these
didn't.
characters, then there's no reason for anybody to play it.
Mhm.
So let's look at the roster.
There we go.
Teo. He looks like he's geared up to play laser tag. I'm really not sure what's up with the asymmetric, like, one blue eye thing. I'm
Okay.
guessing this is like the Soldier 76 of Concord.
Yeah.
Hamar looks like she got her outfit at Value Village. Like she went to a thrift
Damn.
store. Out of all the ways you can cast fire in video games, why tiny little balls? Star
Because
Child
she's
is-
unique.
Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?
What the fuck
Sweet
is this supposed to
liberty,
be?
that
The
face.
bright blue skin tone? This looks like my fucking custom Oblivion character that I'm trying to make as ugly as humanly possible.
Like I do.
Oh my sweet lord. This lady looks like if
What
Warhammer 40K
is
created a
that?
kid show to teach infants how to count. She looks like she would be the main character. She would be the Steve of
Oh
Blue's Clues.
dear.
Her design looks like a 6-year-old's interpretation of the Fallout power armor. Like, impressive for a 6-year-old. For $100 million,
So-
no sir.
yeah,
Ladies and
no,
gentlemen,
don't.
It's right there. The red
No, we
flag.
don't.
I mean, it's in plain
The
sight.
red
They
flag is
warned
right
us.
there.
They tried to
Yeah.
stop us from purchasing this.
It's
They
just like,
literally
stop,
put a
stop.
red flag on the
What she's saying
character
right now
design.
is, you don't want to
There's
play
just
this.
Nothing visually appealing about any of these characters.
All the character designs are actually self-aware, and they're like, kill.
If you look at them, they're just all horrendously ugly, or they have like such contrasting color schemes, or like
Yeah,
this
it's
guy
like
Jabali. Like isn't that a fucking stupid name? Jabali. Look at him. He's got like a cowboy hat, Mad Max goggles, a fucking portable CD player.
You know, it looks
attached
like
to
he got
his
dressed in the
chest,
dark.
and a turquoise what the fuck is this?
I think even
character
if he
design?
got dressed in the dark,
Even
it still
the
looks a bit more
robot,
appealing.
dude, he's literally called a trash dispenser. He's a fucking trash can. I bet Claptrap could
That's why
beat
it's
the
called
shit out of
one-off.
this guy. This is the fucking prototype for IG-88. This is IG-88's fat brother. This motherfucker looks like the Tiger brand rice cooker, man. Is there
Man,
even
is
one
roasting
character that
everyone here.
doesn't look like dog shit?
Play
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, while recording this video about why Concord failed, the Act Man tragically died from cringe. Did you know that over 700 people a year die from cringe?
Yeah, they all play Concord.
Not a whole lot, but it is more than the peak concurrent player count.
Right,
in
let me get the
Concord.
defibrillator.
Usually it's self-inflicted deaths caused
Alright.
by one's own existence, but in this case,
Alright, clear it.
alive.
So there's nothing about these heroes that looks cool. I'm confused by the art style. The color scheme is off-putting, and I don't know what the fuck any of these people, or if they're even people, are supposed to be. Compare this to
Alright.
any character in Overwatch, and it's no contest.
Yeah,
And that's the
no
thing, as
contest
crazy as
whatsoever.
this sounds, people want to look cool in video games. This shit ain't cool.
This is just
lame. Either
why.
make it cool or make it sexy. It's not hard.
I don't think Tits could
Or-
have saved this game, though, fellas.
The design
Or
of
both.
Concord's characters aren't just
Or
ugly.
both.
They tell you nothing about the character themselves. Let's pretend none of you have ever played Team Fortress 2. And I'm pitching the game to you, and I tell you, it's a hero shooter or class-based shooter. I want you to tell me what you think this guy does. Kind of looks like he doesn't want his face to be seen. You know, maybe he's a stealthy kind of guy.
yeah.
What about him? Big machine gun. He's got a bigger frame
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
other
yeah.
guys. Bald, probably a tough dude. Can
Yeah,
dish
yeah.
out a lot of damage, can take a lot of damage, but can't move fast.
Yeah,
See how
okay.
easy it is
Yeah.
to like, differentiate between good and bad art styles?
All
What do
right.
you think the fucking rice cooker guy does? Did you guess that he's a robot that shoots fucking vacuum cleaners? The point
No.
is, Concord isn't interesting to look at. I don't want to look at it. So between the unappealing visual design, the $40 price tag, the generic nature of the gameplay, it's no wonder why Concord failed to capture a meaningful audience. But what is perplexing is how this was okayed by anybody.
Yeah,
This is
they
like
looked at
Sony's
this and
Redfall.
thought,
And right now,
Sony's
is in
Redfall, yeah,
dire
exactly.
straits. In 2022,
that's what I'm going to call it from now on. It's just Sony's Redfall.
they announced they had 10 live service games in production, and 6 of them would be released by March 2026. Layoffs have
maybe
hit
not.
Sony developers,
Maybe hold off
changing
on that.
Priorities for some of these live service titles. Others have been outright canceled, and some have become flops like Concord. This is representative of a wild overreach, an over.
Yeah, it's a very definition of, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Sony doesn't know how to market or create. They're just throwing money away in the trash can and lighting it all on fire.
It is literally
Has
just
to
that
stop.
scene from The Dark
It's
Knight.
easy to point and laugh at the ridiculous character designs,
Ugh.
but truly, it's tragic that so much money and time and effort has gone to waste in such spectacular fashion. Actually,
It's a
fashion
it's
isn't
a
even the
car
word you can
crash of a
use
game.
when describing this game.
It's an
I'm sure I'm
absolute
glad they
car
didn't
crash of a game.
use, you know, $10 million, $20 million to make a new Jack and Daxter. Really glad we didn't
Yeah,
get that
but-
instead. And we
You had to remind me of that, didn't you? Naughty Dog, you have the resources to make another Jack and Daxter game. Fucking do it already.
We've already seen the industry hit with tens of thousands of layoffs, and critical flops like Concord will do nothing but contribute to this declining health of the video game industry and the hobby we all care about. Something needs to change, and it needs to change now. But these are the reasons why Concord has failed, and why Sony is shutting it down just 2 weeks after launch. But what do you think? Which of these characters would you bang? None of them?
Yeah,
Me too.
none of them.
Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content.
Already have.
All right, everyone. We've paid our
Yeah.
respects, and it's time to say adieu. Farewell, the sweet Concord. Farewell.
Damn. I mean, yeah. That was Concord. The biggest failure in gaming. There's Dead on Arrival. And then there's that. Like, 11 days lasted as long as Spurt's freaking lifespan. Well, Well, that just made me sad. This has been Umbra Gladius, and I'll see you in the next one, where hopefully no one makes anything like Concord again. But given the state of the industry, we can only hope. Ta-ra.